Hey man, attraction is rarely logical. A woman can have a list of qualities she thinks she wants in a man, but when she comes face to face with someone she finds truly attractive, everything she thought she knew about herself goes out the window. You'll notice it, not in what she says, but in the shifts of her energy. Suddenly, her laughter seems easier, her body language becomes softer, and her presence takes on a different quality, one that signals she's not just engaging with another man, but with someone who makes her feel a spark she can't quite control. This is where most men miss the truth. Women don't announce their attraction. They reveal it in the tiny cracks of their behavior, in the moments when their control slips. One of the first giveaways is nervousness. A woman who is drawn to a man will often betray it with small fumbles she can't explain. She might talk faster than usual, stumble over her words, or laugh at things that aren't that funny. She isn't doing it on purpose. Her body is running on adrenaline, her heart rate is higher, and her nervous system is in overdrive. Attraction triggers a kind of performance anxiety in women, not because they don't want to impress the man, but because they care too much about how they're being perceived. This is why she suddenly seems different around certain men. That shift in behavior is her biology exposing her emotions, whether she wants it to or not. But alongside that nervousness comes an unmistakable pull toward feminine expression. Women naturally lean into softness, playfulness, and subtle vulnerability when they're around a man they desire. You might see her touch her hair more often, adjust her clothes unnecessarily, or lean toward him slightly without realizing it. These aren't random gestures, they're ancient signals of openness, designed to draw attention without words. It's her subconscious way of saying, I'm comfortable lowering my guard around you, and I want you to notice. Men who are blind to these cues often miss opportunities because they're too focused on words instead of reading what's happening right in front of them. At the same time, women will rarely make attraction obvious. In fact, the more she likes a man, the more she'll cover it up with mixed signals. She might look at him and then quickly look away, or she might suddenly act colder than expected. This is where men get confused. Why would a woman act distant if she's interested? The answer lies in self-preservation. For a woman, vulnerability is risky. Showing too much interest means surrendering power, and her instincts tell her not to give away leverage too easily. So she hides her feelings behind layers of teasing, silence, or even indifference. Ironically, the colder she seems at first, the deeper her attraction often is. She's just trying to mask the very thing she feels most strongly. One of the most misunderstood signs of attraction is testing. When a woman truly finds a man attractive, she will challenge him. She might tease him, give him a hard time, or even throw out subtle comments to gauge his reaction. Most men misinterpret this as rejection or hostility, but it's the opposite. It's her way of screening, can this man handle me when I push him? Will he crumble under pressure or stay calm? If he reacts emotionally or tries too hard to prove himself, she loses respect. But if he stays steady, unbothered, and playful in return, her attraction skyrockets. What this means is simple. The presence of tests often indicates interest. A woman won't waste her energy on a man she doesn't care about. Another powerful giveaway is mirroring. Without realizing it, a woman will begin to adopt the rhythms, gestures, and tone of a man she desires. If he leans back, she leans back. If he speaks softly, she lowers her voice. This isn't calculated, it's a subconscious form of bonding, a way of aligning herself with his energy. Think of it as her way of saying, I want to be in sync with you. Men who are aware of this can spot attraction immediately, because it doesn't happen with men she's indifferent to. It's instinctual imitation, a reflection of her desire to close the distance between them without making it obvious. Sometimes though, attraction is so strong that it frightens her. Instead of leaning in, she withdraws. She might avoid eye contact altogether, keep conversations surface level, or even act uninterested. This isn't rejection, it's fear. When a woman is drawn to a man, but doesn't feel safe enough to show it, she hides behind walls. She's afraid of being judged, afraid of losing control, afraid of being hurt. Many men take this as a clear no, but in reality, it's her emotions overflowing to the point where she feels exposed. What it means is that her attraction is real, but her defenses are stronger. If you can stay calm, nonchalant, and consistent in your presence, those walls often crumble. And then there's the way her attention betrays her. When a woman is attracted, her focus shifts subtly but unmistakably. She remembers small details, brings up things he said casually, and finds reasons to initiate contact, even in small ways. She might send a random message, ask unnecessary questions, or create opportunities to cross paths. These aren't coincidences, they're breadcrumbs, little attempts to maintain connection without openly admitting how much she cares. When a man notices this pattern, he understands that attraction isn't about grand confessions. It's in the small, consistent behaviors that reveal where her energy really wants to be. Another important layer is competition. When a woman is drawn to a man, her awareness of other women spikes. Suddenly, she becomes more guarded about how she looks, more attuned to who else is giving him attention, and more likely to showcase her value. She may not say it out loud, but her actions reveal it. She positions herself closer, engages more in conversation, or finds subtle ways to highlight her strengths. This is rooted in biology. Attraction isn't just about connection, it's about securing it against potential rivals. When she begins to act more competitive around other women, it means she already sees him as someone worth winning. The deeper meaning behind all of these signs is simple. Attraction is never silent, even if it isn't spoken. Women act differently around men. They find attractive because their biology, psychology, and emotions all collide. The mistake most men make is expecting women to express attraction the way men do, directly, openly, and clearly. But women operate in subtleties. Their attraction leaks out in nervous laughter, guarded teasing, subconscious mirroring, and unexpected distance. And if you can read these signals for what they are, you'll never again mistake interest for rejection. You'll see through the mask and understand the truth. When a woman is truly drawn to you, she can try to hide it, but she can never completely control it. When a woman finds herself drawn to a man, her sense of time around him changes dramatically. Minutes begin to feel like seconds, and what should be a casual interaction becomes something she unconsciously stretches out. She might linger after a conversation, add unnecessary details to keep the dialogue going, or hesitate before saying goodbye. This is not because she has nothing better to do, but because her attraction compels her to prolong the moment. In psychology, this is known as time dilation under heightened emotion. Her brain is rewarding her with dopamine, and her body wants to stay in the presence of the man causing it. If you notice she's reluctant to end interactions, or creates excuses to extend them, understand that it's a deep sign of interest, far stronger than any words she could say. Her physical orientation around you is another unspoken confession. Human beings reveal desire in the direction of their bodies. If her feet, hips, or shoulders naturally point toward you, even when she's engaged in conversation with others, it's her subconscious aligning itself with where her attraction lies. A woman may even position herself in a group, so she can have a direct line of sight to you, adjusting her stance to keep you within her awareness. These micro-signals are powerful because they bypass conscious control. While she may attempt to mask her feelings verbally, her body betrays the truth. Men who are observant of this, who can read posture, spacing, and orientation, will always detect attraction long before it's admitted. Jealousy also creeps in more subtly than most men expect. A woman who is truly attracted won't just notice you, she'll notice who else notices you. If another woman laughs too hard at your jokes, if someone else touches your arm casually, or if you give attention to another female, you'll see tiny flashes of discomfort cross her face. She may try to hide it with humor, a change of subject, or even by acting as though she doesn't care. But the truth is written in her sudden shift of energy. Jealousy, in its rawest form, is a declaration of value. She wouldn't feel it unless she already considered you someone worth guarding. Men often mistake this as drama or moodiness, but in reality, it's proof that she is already emotionally invested, even if she hasn't admitted it yet. The way she remembers things about you is another strong giveaway. A woman who feels drawn to you will recall details most people overlook. The way you like your coffee, a story you told in passing, the shirt you wore the first time you met. This hyper-attunement happens because attraction activates the brain's focus centers. You become significant in her mental landscape, and she unconsciously stores information about you as a way of deepening her connection. When she brings up something you mentioned long ago, it's not an accident. It's her way of signaling, I've been paying attention. "You matter enough to me that I keep mental notes." And while she may not say "I like you" directly, her memory of small details reveals a deeper truth than any verbal admission. Humor also shifts dramatically when attraction enters the picture. A woman who genuinely feels drawn to you will often laugh more easily, even at things that aren't particularly funny. This isn't about your comedic skill, it's about her desire to create rapport. Laughter lowers defenses, builds intimacy, and establishes a shared emotional rhythm. When she laughs, she's not just responding to a joke, she's signaling comfort, openness, and desire for connection. More importantly, her laughter will sound different, softer, longer, with more genuine warmth. It's not the polite chuckle she gives to acquaintances, it's the kind of laughter that lingers, betraying the fact that she feels good simply being around you. And when a man notices this, he sees the real language of attraction, one that can't be faked or controlled. When a woman is around a man she's attracted to, one of the most overlooked signals is the way her attention sharpens. We live in a world where distractions are endless, notifications buzzing, people talking, responsibilities tugging at every direction, yet if she finds herself giving you her full focus, it's not by accident. She listens more intently, maintains longer eye contact, and pauses before responding as though she's savoring every word you say. This happens because attraction activates what neuroscientists call selective attention bias. Her brain prioritizes you over the noise of everything else, filtering the world so your presence dominates her awareness. Most men dismiss this as simple politeness, but real attraction is different. It feels like the world narrows, the background fades, and all she sees is you. That sharpening of focus is a far stronger confession of interest than anything she will ever verbalize. Even more revealing is the way her emotional state becomes tied to yours. If you're relaxed, she softens. If you're excited, she becomes animated. If you pull back and grow quiet, her mood dips ever so slightly. This emotional syncing isn't conscious. It's a reflection of her body's mirror neurons responding to yours. In simpler terms, her biology is tuning itself to your frequency. A woman who doesn't care won't shift with your energy. She'll remain flat, detached, unaffected. But a woman who feels attraction will find herself rising and falling with your emotional rhythm, sometimes without realizing it. This is one of the clearest ways to separate real attraction from casual friendliness. Does your presence influence her mood? If the answer is yes, then she's not just noticing you, she's emotionally tethering herself to you. Another powerful tell is how she seeks your approval without directly asking for it. Watch closely when she tells a story, cracks a joke, or shares her opinion. Her eyes will flick toward you, waiting to see your reaction, even if only for a split second. She wants to know if you found it funny, if you agreed, if she impressed you. This isn't neediness in the dramatic sense. It's a quiet craving for validation from the man she values most in the room. And the irony is, she may pretend not to care, brushing it off with a casual shrug, but that quick glance betrays her. Men who pick up on this realize they don't need to do much. Her need for your approval is proof that you already hold influence. It's not about words, it's about where her attention seeks confirmation, and if it's always you, that speaks louder than anything else. Attraction also reveals itself in the way she exaggerates her femininity around you. Women naturally adjust their tone of voice, posture, and even walking pace depending on who they're around. But when she feels drawn to a man, everything softens. Her voice might drop into a gentler tone, her steps become lighter, her movements slower and more graceful. She may lean into traditionally feminine gestures, brushing her hair back more often, adjusting her clothes subtly, or crossing her legs in a more delicate manner. These adjustments aren't rehearsed performances. They're instinctual responses designed to highlight contrast between your masculine energy and her feminine essence. She wants to feel smaller in your presence, not because she's weak, but because attraction compels her to polarize, to heighten the dynamic between you. And this shift, subtle as it seems, is one of the clearest indications that she's not indifferent to you. Finally, one of the deepest truths about how women act around men they're attracted to is this: they struggle to maintain emotional neutrality. No matter how hard she tries to appear calm, collected, or even disinterested, her body betrays her in the form of micro-reactions. A faint blush on her cheeks when you compliment her, dilated pupils when she looks at you, a sudden intake of breath when you stand closer than expected, even the way her lips part slightly when she's listening. All of these are unconscious leaks of desire. What this means is that genuine attraction isn't something she can fully conceal, even if she wants to. And the irony is, the more she tries to hide it, the more these small signals give her away. Men who are trained to see these layers never need to wonder whether a woman likes them, because her body will always reveal the truth. Her words might deny. When a woman is secretly attracted to a man, she begins to alter her schedule and priorities in subtle but noticeable ways. You'll find that she suddenly has more free time when you ask her to meet, even if her life is otherwise busy. She'll accidentally run into you more often, placing herself in your orbit without admitting it directly. This is not coincidence, it's calculated spontaneity. A woman rarely rearranges her life for someone she doesn't care about, but when she's pulled toward a man, convenience becomes less important than opportunity. Even if she tells herself she's just being casual, her actions betray that she's quietly centering him in her decisions. And this shift is critical. When a woman is truly interested, she bends the structure of her life to allow more of you in, even if she disguises it as chance. Another undeniable indicator is the way she engages in small acts of service without making a big show of it. If she brings you a drink without asking, remembers something you mentioned needing, or does little favors for you that she doesn't do for others, it's not random kindness, it's attraction translated into action. Women invest energy where they feel value, and when she starts anticipating your needs, it's a silent confession. The beauty of these gestures is their subtlety. She may never say, "I did this for you because I like you," but the effort reveals her priorities. Most men miss this because they're too focused on the grand declarations, the obvious signs. Yet the truth is, attraction shows itself in the smallest, quietest details, the ones she thinks no one notices, but which reveal the most. Pay attention too to her defensiveness when other women are brought into the conversation. If you mention another woman, even in a neutral way, she might brush it off with a laugh, but her energy will shift. Her responses may become sharper, or she may try to subtly highlight her own strengths in comparison. She might even go quiet for a moment, as though weighing whether she should reveal her irritation or mask it behind composure. This instinct comes from one of the oldest drives in human psychology, competition for high-value mates. Even if she doesn't consciously want to show it, attraction fuels comparison. She doesn't want to lose ground to anyone else, especially not in your eyes. And this reaction, however slight, is one of the clearest windows into her real feelings. Jealousy never arises from indifference. Another fascinating shift happens in how she shares herself with you. A woman who feels no attraction will keep conversation, surface level, casual topics, light jokes, general chatter. But a woman who's genuinely interested will begin to reveal deeper layers of her life. She'll talk about her dreams, her insecurities, her family, even the things that scare her. This vulnerability is not random, it's selective disclosure, a way of saying, "I trust you enough to see more of me." Attraction compels intimacy, and intimacy compels revelation. The more she lets you in, the more she's signaling that you matter to her beyond the surface. Men often mistake these disclosures as simple friendliness, but in reality, they are invitations, doors she doesn't open for just anyone. And once those doors open, you've stepped into a level of emotional significance far deeper than casual interaction. Finally, the ultimate marker of attraction is the way she treats your silence. With men she doesn't care about, silence feels awkward, and she'll rush to fill the space with chatter or excuses to leave. But with a man she's drawn to, silence becomes comfortable, even intimate. She'll sit with you in quiet moments, sharing space without feeling the need to force conversation. This is because attraction transforms stillness into connection. When a woman can be at ease in silence with you, it means she feels safe in your presence, safe enough to let down her guard, safe enough to simply be. That level of comfort doesn't come easily, and it doesn't happen with men she doesn't value. It's the invisible bond that reveals itself, not in what's said, but in what doesn't need to be said at all. One of the strongest signals of hidden attraction is the way she amplifies her own presence in your proximity. Suddenly, she becomes more animated, more expressive, more visible whenever you're nearby. She might talk louder when you're in the room, laugh with greater energy, or insert herself into conversations that give her an excuse to interact with you. This isn't attention seeking in a shallow way, it's instinct. Deep down, she wants to be noticed, to make sure her presence registers with you. Women rarely expend this kind of social energy for men they're indifferent to, so when she seems to light up the moment you appear, it's her subconscious pulling her out of the background, signaling, "Don't overlook me." This shift is rarely verbalized, but once you see it, it's undeniable. Watch too for how she reacts to your successes. A woman who is attracted to you will celebrate your victories with a glow in her eyes that you won't find from casual acquaintances. Whether it's a small achievement at work, a personal milestone, or even just you excelling in something minor, her response will carry weight. She may downplay her enthusiasm verbally, but her body language will betray her admiration. This matters because attraction naturally links pride with connection. She wants to associate herself with your progress, your wins, your growth. If she finds excuses to compliment you, hype you up, or express pride even in things you didn't consider big, it's not just friendliness, it's her way of weaving herself into your narrative of success, hoping to share in your rising momentum. Another overlooked tell is her curiosity about your past and your future. A woman who doesn't care will keep her questions light and temporary, but a woman who's truly interested will probe deeper. She'll want to know about your childhood, your old stories, the moments that shaped you. And more importantly, she'll ask about your vision, your plans, your goals. This isn't small talk, it's investment talk. Curiosity is emotional currency, and when she spends it on you, she's signaling that you matter enough for her to imagine herself in both your history and your future. Men often underestimate this, brushing it off as just conversation. But if she digs deeper into who you are and who you're becoming, she's not just interested in the present you, she's aligning herself with the man you might be tomorrow. One of the more subtle signs of attraction is her responsiveness to your boundaries. With men she doesn't value, she may push past their comfort zones, test their patience, or dismiss their preferences. But with a man she secretly likes, she pays closer attention. She notices your moods, respects your space, and calibrates her behavior to stay in your good graces. This doesn't mean she becomes submissive, rather she becomes highly aware of how her actions land on you. For example, she might adjust her tone if she senses she offended you, or quickly check in if she thinks she crossed a line. This attunement is a rare currency. It shows she cares enough to not only connect with you, but also preserve the connection by respecting your limits. And perhaps the most profound sign of all is this: she becomes inconsistent in ways that only attraction explains. One moment she's bold and expressive, another moment shy and withdrawn. She might text you eagerly one day and then retreat the next, not out of lack of interest, but because her emotions overwhelm her sense of control. Attraction destabilizes her. It throws her off her usual rhythm. If she truly didn't care, she'd remain steady, predictable, neutral. But when she likes you, she vacillates between revealing and concealing, between leaning in and pulling back. That very inconsistency is the proof men often misinterpret. They assume she's uninterested, when in reality, it's the chaos of attraction manifesting in real time, her heart and her mind wrestling over how much she should reveal. Another powerful sign that a woman is secretly attracted to a man is how she reacts when he withdraws his attention, even slightly. With men she isn't invested in, his silence or absence means nothing. She may not even notice, but when she's drawn to you, the moment you pull back, her entire rhythm shifts. She might suddenly initiate small conversations she wouldn't have before, send you a message under the guise of something casual, or even create reasons to cross paths with you. This isn't random, it's her subconscious trying to re-establish the connection she feels slipping away. Silence becomes louder to her than words, and distance becomes unbearable. The fact that she notices your absence at all, and takes action to bridge it, is proof of attraction that she might never say outright. You'll also notice her competitive side come alive in subtle ways. If she likes you, she wants to stand out against other women, even when no one is competing. She might highlight her strengths when you mention someone else's, or emphasize her uniqueness when you share stories about other women in your life. Sometimes, this comes out as playful, teasing. Other times, it appears as subtle one-upmanship. Attraction awakens a woman's instinct to secure her position in your world, and competition is how she does it. Men often mistake this for arrogance or overconfidence, but the truth is far more primal. She doesn't want to fade into the background. Her attraction compels her to prove, even indirectly, that she's the one who deserves to hold your attention. Another layer unfolds when you notice how she adapts to your environment. If you're in a group of friends, she'll shift her energy to match yours, ensuring you remain aligned even in the crowd. If you're quiet and observant, she'll calm herself to reflect that energy. If you're social and charismatic, she'll amplify her liveliness to sync with you. This adaptive behavior isn't about manipulation, it's about resonance. Her attraction pulls her into your orbit, and without realizing it, she starts matching your frequency. In psychology, this is called attunement, and it's one of the clearest non-verbal indicators of interest. While she may pretend she's just being polite, the consistency with which she adapts to you betrays that her feelings run deeper than she wants to admit. Notice also how she invests in her appearance around you. This doesn't necessarily mean she dresses extravagantly. Sometimes it's the opposite, a carefully chosen casual look that seems effortless but actually took planning. She pays attention to small details, the right hairstyle, a subtle perfume, even the timing of when she enters a room. These choices aren't random, they're designed to maximize her impact on you. Attraction makes presentation matter more. She wants you to notice her, even if she'll act as though she didn't put any thought into it. The irony is, the more she downplays it, the more effort she's probably invested. When her appearance consistently sharpens around you, it's her way of speaking a language without words, a declaration of desire written in style, scent, and presence. And perhaps the most telling behavior is the way she listens to you differently than she listens to anyone else. With casual acquaintances, she may nod along, half engaged, offering polite affirmations. But with you, her attention sharpens to a piercing focus. She'll tilt her head, lock her eyes on yours, and absorb every detail of your words. Even if you ramble about something mundane, she'll stay present because it's not about the content, it's about the connection. Attraction transforms listening into intimacy. When she remembers small details of your stories and brings them up later, it's her way of weaving you into her inner world. That level of recall is not accidental. It's her attraction leaving fingerprints in her memory. One of the most undeniable signs that a woman is deeply drawn to you is how her guard starts to break in small but revealing moments. At first, she may maintain composure, trying to seem in control, but the longer she spends time around you, the more unpolished fragments slip out. She might share an embarrassing story she wouldn't normally tell, let you see her without makeup in casual settings, or reveal quirks that others rarely notice. This gradual unveiling isn't weakness, it's trust disguised as vulnerability. Attraction makes her want to peel back the layers, to show you the version of herself that isn't rehearsed or calculated. And the deeper truth is this: when she begins to expose her imperfections willingly, it means she values your perception of her more than she fears your judgment. That shift in dynamic marks a profound stage of attraction, because most women only share the polished version of themselves, but with you, she risks being raw. Equally important is the way she invests emotionally in your struggles. If she's attracted to you, she won't just celebrate your wins, she'll also internalize your setbacks. You'll notice her offering encouragement when you're tired, trying to lift your spirits when you're discouraged, or even getting upset on your behalf if she feels you were treated unfairly. This isn't surface-level empathy, it's personal involvement. A woman who doesn't care will listen politely and move on, but a woman who does care will feel your battles as though they touch her directly. That kind of emotional tethering reveals more than flirtation ever could, because it shows that she's binding her emotional state to yours. Attraction, at its deepest level, isn't just about wanting you in her life, it's about feeling compelled to shoulder pieces of your life with you. You'll also notice how she begins to frame the future in ways that include you. At first, this may be subtle, a casual mention of a movie you have to see together someday, or a trip she hints you'd enjoy. But over time, her language shifts into shared scenarios. Instead of saying, "I want to go here," she might say, "We should go here." Instead of speaking about next year in isolation, she speaks about it in connection with you. These aren't empty phrases, they're unconscious projections of desire. A woman who sees you only as temporary won't weave you into her long-term imagination, but when she starts planting you into her plans, However small, it reveals that attraction is spilling over into vision. She's not just interested in now, she's imagining later, and that means you've already carved out a place in her world. Another overlooked but powerful signal is how her energy shifts when you give attention to others. You might be speaking casually with a friend, a stranger, or another woman, and suddenly her presence sharpens. She might insert herself into the conversation, add comments to maintain proximity, or withdraw slightly while keeping a watchful eye. This isn't insecurity, it's instinct. Her attraction compels her to measure her place in your world against the presence of others. If she feels overshadowed, her energy dips. If she feels acknowledged, her mood rises. This dynamic proves something simple yet profound. Your attention has weight, and when your attention carries weight, you've crossed the line from casual interest to deeper significance in her emotional hierarchy. Perhaps the clearest sign of all, though, is the way she treats your silence not as emptiness, but as intimacy. In a world addicted to constant conversation, silence usually feels like a void people rush to fill. But a woman who's truly attracted to you can sit with you in wordless presence and still feel full. She doesn't need validation every second because your energy is enough. And that kind of comfort is rare. It doesn't happen with men she doesn't value. When a woman can lean into quiet with you, when she can laugh without words, share a glance that says more than a sentence, or simply enjoy the gravity of your company, it means her attraction isn't superficial. It's deeper than talk, deeper than flirtation. It's rooted in the kind of connection that doesn't demand effort to exist. It simply is. When a woman is truly attracted to you, one of the strongest giveaways is how she begins to reveal her contradictions. On the surface, she might claim she doesn't want a relationship, that she's too busy, or that she just enjoys casual connections, but her actions start telling a different story. She'll still make time for you, still check in, still create emotional moments that contradict the detached persona she tries to maintain. This duality is born from fear and desire colliding, fear of being too exposed, too vulnerable, too dependent, and desire for the man who compels her to drop her guard despite those fears. Attraction, when genuine, often creates internal conflict that leaks out in these mixed signals. Men who don't understand this walk away confused, but those who do recognize that the very contradictions she shows are proof that her emotions have already slipped beyond her control. Another powerful marker is the way she defends you in conversations when you're not around. If she hears criticism about you, even light-hearted jokes from others, she'll often jump in with a counterpoint, a compliment, or a protective statement. This is not about being argumentative, it's about allegiance. A woman who's indifferent doesn't feel the need to guard your image in front of others, but one who's invested can't stand the thought of you being diminished. This is her instinct kicking in, aligning her loyalty with your name. And the irony is, she might never tell you this directly, you'll hear it secondhand, or notice how others mention her quickness to defend you. That willingness to fight for your reputation is one of the purest signals of hidden attraction, because she has no practical reason to do it unless she's already tied her sense of pride to yours. Closely connected to this is how she reacts to your vulnerability. Most women treat vulnerability in men with polite distance. They nod, they acknowledge, but they don't fully engage. Yet, when she's genuinely attracted, she doesn't just listen, she leans in, she absorbs, and she empathizes with intensity. She doesn't dismiss your struggles, she tries to understand them. And in those moments, something rare happens. She begins to show her own vulnerability in return. This exchange is a mirror. She opens herself only because she feels safe in the space you've created, and her attraction compels her to match that intimacy. These exchanges build powerful emotional bonds, and while she may later retreat and pretend to downplay what she revealed, the truth remains that her openness is proof of trust. Attraction, when real, compels disclosure, not because it's logical, but because her heart overrides her guard. You'll also notice that attraction changes the way she views your flaws. With men she's not invested in, every imperfection becomes a deal breaker. Too short, too broke, too quiet, too much of something, not enough of something else. But with you, her attraction distorts perception in your favor. She'll excuse your shortcomings, rationalize your mistakes, even find your quirks charming rather than annoying. This isn't manipulation on her part, it's the psychology of desire. When a woman is drawn to you, she filters you through a lens of idealization. What another man would be criticized for, you might even be praised for. And this shift reveals something crucial. Attraction rewrites her tolerance. A woman only overlooks flaws when her feelings have tipped into genuine investment. That willingness to bend where she normally wouldn't is a confession in itself, even if she never articulates it. Finally, one of the deepest truths about women around men they are genuinely attracted to is how their independence shifts into interdependence. A woman who doesn't care about you will guard her independence fiercely. She doesn't want your input, doesn't need your opinion, and won't seek your perspective. But a woman who does care starts to subtly align her decisions with yours. She'll ask for your advice, value your thoughts, and even delay choices until she hears what you think. This isn't weakness, it's acknowledgement. It's her way of saying, your perspective matters to me enough to shape my actions. That willingness to let your voice influence her world is not something she extends to just anyone. It's the quiet but undeniable proof that you've entered the rare territory of significance in her life. One of the strongest shifts you'll notice when a woman is truly attracted to you is how her emotions seem to magnify in your presence. The smallest things you do, even trivial actions like a joke that wasn't particularly funny or a minor display of confidence, elicit oversized reactions. She might laugh harder than the joke warrants, or glow with pride when you display competence, or even show irritation more quickly if she feels neglected. This isn't irrationality, it's investment. Her attraction turns you into an amplifier of her feelings, making her responses larger, brighter, more visible. Men often dismiss this or mistake it for oversensitivity, but what they're missing is the hidden message. When you hold emotional influence over a woman, it's proof that you matter more to her than she's willing to admit. Attraction also shifts the way she uses technology around you. A woman who doesn't care will text you slowly, reply when convenient, and treat communication as a chore. But one who's drawn to you finds herself checking her phone more often, rereading your messages, and sometimes even leaving your chat open just to feel a sense of connection. She may delay responses strategically, pretending to be busy to avoid seeming too eager, but the truth is, she's deeply engaged in the digital thread between you. The irony is, her effort to appear casual often reveals her investment more than if she simply responded quickly. Men who notice this pattern, the double texts that appear by accident, the fast replies followed by delayed ones, realize that inconsistency in communication is not indifference, but overthinking. And overthinking is always a sign of emotional weight. Another revealing behavior is how she adapts her boundaries specifically for you. Women are often firm about what they will or won't tolerate, and they'll enforce those lines ruthlessly with men who don't interest them. But with a man she's secretly attracted to, those lines blur. She'll forgive lateness, overlook small offenses, and make exceptions that she wouldn't normally grant. This flexibility is not weakness, it's prioritization. It's her subconscious way of saying, you matter enough to bend the rules I set for everyone else. Most men fail to notice this shift, believing her leniency is just kindness. But in truth, it's one of the deepest confessions of attraction, because rules don't bend for indifference, they bend for desire. And when she makes room for you in places she doesn't for others, it means you've already claimed space in her world. Pay attention too to the way she reacts to your absence in conversations or social settings. If you leave the room, her energy dips. If you go silent in a group, she notices. She might search for your face in the crowd, or casually ask where you went if you're missing. This vigilance doesn't happen with men she doesn't care about. Attraction compels her awareness to stay tethered to you, even when others are around. She may not announce it, but her attention betrays her. And here's the paradox. Sometimes, the more she tries to hide her feelings, the more visible they become. Because you don't watch someone you're indifferent to, you don't track their presence, you don't feel their absence, and you certainly don't adjust your mood based on their involvement. That invisible thread she maintains proves her emotions are already tied to yours. And perhaps the most profound sign of all is the way she remembers you when you're not there. It's easy to act charmed in the moment, to display attention in face-to-face interactions. But true attraction lingers in the quiet spaces of her life. She'll think of you when she hears a song, see something in her day, and immediately associate it with you. or even dream about you without intending to. She'll find herself talking about you in conversations with friends, sometimes without realizing how often your name comes up. This is the ultimate proof of attraction, not how she acts when you're in front of her, but how often she carries you with her when you're gone. That persistence of presence, that inability to erase you from her thoughts, reveals everything she might try to hide. Because if a woman can't forget you, it means you've already etched yourself into her emotional reality, whether she admits it or not.